Hot Mike with Head Withrow out of the gates and ready to go. Luka gets his revenge against his old team. The Giants are in desperation mode, and college basketball players, more of them, implicated in a gambling probe. That's straight ahead here on Hot Mike. While you're here, we hope you'll like, comment, and subscribe to the OutKick YouTube channel. Pretty big game for Luka, right? Going against the Mavs for the first time since, a month ago when he was traded. He admitted that it was kind of a weird vibe for him. So much for that, where he balls out with a triple-double against his former team. There's a quality to that, Chad, that is, not every player shows up and does that, but there is extra motivation there. And while he admitted that the game felt weird and different, goes for 40. His final stat line: 19 points, 15 rebounds, 11 assists. So he did what he struggled. The Lakers needed him to do this, and he got it.
Yeah, he struggled to score. LeBron at 27 and was clutch in the fourth quarter. But this is a crazy stat that I read. He is the third active NBA player to have a triple-double against all 30 teams.
That's insane.
He had to play the Mavs to do it. That was the last one off the list because he had been a member of the Mavs his whole career. First game against the Mavs gets the triple-double. The other two players, LeBron James and Russell Westbrook.
Okay.
Active players to do it.
Active players. Chad, think about this from the perspective of the Lakers. LeBron went for 27. If they get that type of performance, the triple-double performance from Luka, I can buy into why the trade was fantastic for LA. But man, the return, that's what I see in the highlights too, is the return for Luka is just ridiculous.
I think it's a big mistake for Dallas to start leaking all this stuff in the news about his drinking, about his smoking,
party,
that he's lazy.
Yep.
I mean, look, you can look at the guy. He's not a specimen.
They didn't want to give him that
I'm watching him right now, and I'm
million.
like, he doesn't look like a tip-top shape professional basketball player physically. He's a little bit loose.
The hookah.
Right? I mean, he's always been that way, though. He's still a phenomenal talent and a great player.
I understand why, if all of this is legit, like they're really harping on this, happens all the time. You don't want to give the guy $300 million, but get a haul in return, man. You could set up your franchise with picks galore if you get a bidding war going. And instead, you've got... it looked like they were smoking the hookah a bit.
Well, here would be my advice to the Mavs. Let it play out. Like, if everything you're saying is true, the Lakers are going to find that out. He's going to miss time. He's going to be injury prone. He's not going to be in shape. He's going to be a problem for them. But if he goes there and wins a title with the Lakers, then you're going to look foolish. Mm-hmm. But it's all going to work out in time. When you make a move like this and you're Nico Harrison, you got to understand, the city's going to hate me. No one's going to understand it. The league's going to hate it for the most part.
I mean,
yeah, everybody's going to not like it, but I firmly believe in this, knowing who Luka is, knowing what we know about him. I stand by it, and fans will eventually get over it. I'm sorry you hate it right now, but in the long run, this is going to work out. And if it works out in the long run, you can print a big "I bleeping told you so" and fly it all over the city and all over the league if you want and tell everyone. But right now, after you lost a game to the Lakers, to your former player you traded away, don't start leaking things to the media about his drinking and laziness and everything else. It's not the time.
Well, it immediately came out, too, like when they traded him, and then details here. Making a mistake, what they witnessed in the last days does not paint a flattering portrait of the 25-year-old's professionalism. This is from NBA Central.
What is hookah? What is
the hookah? They smoke the hookah?
I don't even know what it is. Like, what is it? Is it like tobacco? Or is it vape? What is it?
I mean, I just know it smells different. It smells a little funny. I don't know. There are hookah bars that are legal, Yeah, I don't. Back in college,
I'm not a smoker. I don't know what it is he's smoking. I don't know what hookah is.
I don't know. Is it an Indian? I don't know.
I have no idea. That's what
yeah, but
hookah.
He's
what is
it? It looks like a vape.
Hookah or a shisha is a water pipe, single or multi-stemmed instrument for heating or vaporizing.
It looks like a bong.
Oh, smoking tobacco. So you heat and vaporize tobacco, cannabis, hashish, opium, So what's he smoking? Tobacco in that?
Yeah, I guess. Or, he's
hashish,
whatever he wants. Yeah, he's got the hash pot. Hey, did you see some of the final scores last night in the NBA? Oh, the NBA's back, all right. The team we're going to watch on Friday. Oh my God,
the Grizzlies were involved in quite the defensive matchup.
Think about it. 151 to 148 was the final score. Grizzlies against the Suns. 122 to 82. Cavs over the Magic. You have 128 to 92. Warriors over the Hornets. This is the league right here. Yeah, the night previous, Monday night, 125, 116, 131, 128. Chad, 142 to 110, final score. What are we watching? 130 to 88, all that in the same night.
I saw that.
This is ridiculous.
I saw that score between the Grizz and the Suns.
Nuts.
151 to 148. So,
dude, 142 to 110.
299 combined points in the game. Almost 300.
That's
combined between the two teams.
It's a halftime score of the previous All-Star game.
299 combined. And Hutton, I am thinking I think they went to All-Star Weekend and they had the opposite reaction as everyone else. They said, hey, you know what's fun? Not putting any effort forth on defense. That's what you know what we, the NBA players, learned in that game?
Yeah.
Boy, we can really save our joints if we don't even try to play defense. And we just let teams go up and down the court.
We feel really rested because we didn't participate.
Look, I'm sure there's good offense being played too. I say this half joking, not watching it. I know there's a lot of skill out there,
and
but
the athleticism is
you
ridiculous.
Can't get to 151, 148 without a number of dudes dogging it on defense too. There's a combination of the two. Great offensive play combined with a lack of a real effort and spirit defensively.
The game started when it was 146, 143. That's when the game actually tipped off.
Ridiculous.
Chad, some of these 151, 148 would be difficult to point shave, I would say, if both defenses are allowing the layup, so to speak, and allowing the wide open threes. But we're seeing the point shaving scandal crank up across college basketball.
Yeah, the latest report, the 4 players that were suspended at University of New Orleans, UNO, they're now linked to the same point-shaving ring criminal operation that we discussed yesterday. Going back to Jonte Porter, possibly Fresno State, possibly others. Look.
And this main guy's rolling on them, right? That's the perception.
The main guy, Sugar Shane, as I call him, Sugar Shane Hennon, I think is his last name.
That's it.
That's got his own website. He has turned state's witness. He got arrested on a plane in Vegas on the runway, going to Colombia, trying to flee the country. And when the authorities approached him, he said he was going to get a dental procedure done. And they said, we're not buying that. You're coming with us. He has turned, shockingly, he's turned state witness on everyone else.
You're going to need a dental dam now.
Yeah. So, look, it's one thing when it's Fresno State or UNO.
Right.
Okay?
Yep.
Or some of these other teams involved in this, Mississippi Valley State. The most high-profile program I've seen implicated so far is Temple. Temple's having a rough year. They've lost 7 straight games. It's easy to get to those teams. Those guys aren't making NIL money. Not a lot of people are watching those games. I for one, didn't watch 4-26 Fresno State play it all this year. I'm not watching University of New Orleans games. People aren't really keeping an eye on it. So if you are someone who's doing something illegal, trying to influence games, throw games, pay off players, that's where you go. The lower fringes of college basketball with really bad teams that have already pitched it in, and you get the desired outcome that you want. It's a big deal. It's a huge deal right now. It's awful for those programs. You don't want it anywhere. It's going to be a much bigger deal if a high-profile power program gets implicated in any way, any of this. But Hutton, it's also really hard to get to those guys, right? They got to Jonte Porter because Jonte Porter had a gambling debt, and he wasn't playing much anyways, and that was someone on the end of the bench that they could influence. I
don't know if it's difficult to get those guys, though, because at Mississippi Valley State, you're transferring now, and you're moving up the ladder. So I think, Chad, I'm thinking 2 things. Number one, they do have access to those type players. We just don't know about it yet, right?
I hope not.
I know, maybe. But I mean, just think about this one gambling ring and how many more there would be.
Yeah.
And the other thing that comes to mind is
by the way, here are the programs so far implicated according to ESPN. Temple, North Carolina A&T, Eastern Michigan, Mississippi Valley State, Fresno State, the Toronto Raptors with Jonte Porter. Terry Rozier of the NBA was also investigated, but the NBA found no wrongdoing.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. So, but think about that. That's just one ring that they've busted with one guy turning state's witness. I'm thinking this too. If they don't target the larger programs, and you can define that however you want, why not? Because it seems like it's way easier to get caught doing it at the lower level because you see a spike in gambling, or it's easy to see certain trends when online or when bettors
an
are not.
Anomaly would be easier.
Yeah,
in the,
or a spike.
North Carolina A&T, Mississippi
a bunch of money
Valley
comes
State
in or whatever. Yeah,
if someone's winning a lot of money.
Whereas if you're betting Kentucky, or the team in the SEC, for instance, playing Kentucky, the spike in that wouldn't be as abnormal, I guess is what I'm referring to. But who knows? But this is just the start, and I don't know how you get to a point where it's actually under control. There's so many different programs, and I guess the only way to do it is if you just don't allow it to be on the sports books. But that's not going to be the case. There's too much money involved in it.
I think it's twofold. What you're saying is true. Yes, it would be easier to spot an abnormality in a game of a lower level where someone's making $500,000 off of it, and a couple of times, and it's a very random bet, and Vegas or whoever is in that sports book's going to look into it.
Yeah.
Also, maybe I'm being naive. I think it's going to be really hard to get to someone at the highest level of college basketball that's a contender in any way for anything.
Unless you're Jonte Porter.
Exactly. And Jonte Porter is the example of, okay, this guy is in debt. And I don't know the situation of every college basketball player.
Right,
it could be someone who his family's in debt or threatened, or he's got a gambling debt and needs the money. There's a lot of
instances. Where's the eighth man off the bench?
I can see where it's very easy to go to a Fresno State player and be like, man, you guys are going nowhere. I'm not asking you to throw the game. I'm just asking you to help influence, to make sure you're losing this game no matter what. Make sure that the number is this.
But in some way. The thing that's, I'm with you, but they got to 3 players, not just one.
They got to more than 3.
Allegedly. Wait, Fresno?
4 on North. If you're going by who's suspended, it's 4 players for New Orleans.
4. Well, I'm saying from Fresno.
Fresno's 3.
Yeah. They're going with groups of players. And those guys aren't going to stay at that one program the entire time. But if you get a Jonte Porter, for instance, whenever it's his turn to get in the game and he knows he's getting to the game, it's time to alert, the boss. And then you go in and you fake an injury. You have an illness or whatever, and you can affect the game that way. That would be the case at the higher level to get within that program. It's...
They need to make this...
they got to Iowa State kickers.
Make an example out of it.
Not the gambling ring, but you see what I'm saying.
Make an example out of this gambling ring would be my advice. This guy's going to get spared because he's going to give up all the info on everyone that was implicated, but I'm saying everyone who took money is you got to throw the book at them. You got to show that there is a heavy deterrent for doing this, even if you're just, the 300th ranked Division I team in college basketball.
Well, they could go to the max, but who was busted up for the Mazahara ring that he was a part of? He lost.
Mazahara?
He had a big debt, and then there was someone else higher up.
Yeah.
That's totally different, right? With this.
Totally different.
But, there's how many thousands of these type little rings? I don't know. I say little.
I hope not. Again, I do no harm. I say it all the time. I watch games and I'm not thinking, this guy's on the take, this guy's on the take. But now when I'm watching small college games that are available in every sports book, I'm starting to think, maybe.
Well, the thing that just is glaring to us is how does Vegas know these spreads so well? They are always honed in on this. Not always. 80% of the time. The house doesn't lose. That to me is also very peculiar, how often that happens. Of course, we're always on the losing end. But it's always
wild.
Around 4.5 with the 2 minutes to play, whatever. Yeah. They've honed in on that too.
Right, but it's also, it happens a lot, and they're very good at it. But I think we also have a propensity to not talk about the ones that are way off. I think Alabama won by 35 last night. They were favored by 6. Florida was a 9-point favorite. They lost.
Well, I think
to Georgia. They're off a lot too.
But not nearly as inaccurate.
They're very good at it.
As you or I would be.
Well, of course. But I expect them with all their research abilities to be very good at it.
But sometimes they're within half a point. You're just looking at it going, how did this, especially in a game that should be more than the spread indicates. It's like a peculiar 5.5-point line in the NFL for the road team. I don't know. It's just, and they're normally spot on with it.
They're very good at it.
They're excellent. But again, I also think from the other end of things, they want to make sure they give the perception of being on the level. But there's inside information everywhere, on both sides. And it doesn't get to us.
I think Vegas getting inside information to set a line is far different than someone paying a player to throw a game. But to set the line and move it. Yeah.
And control it and pause it.
I think Vegas knowing how to win and be the house. It's different from Vegas bringing their money and saying, we need you to throw this game.
But also,
that's what we're talking about now, are individuals going in to affect that. What Vegas is doing is legal. They're very good at it. They have a lot of researchers. Yes, they're getting inside information.
Unless they've got the cut on. Again, my theory on that is just there's more to it than
Lay
just
out
this.
your theory. What are you trying to say?
I'm saying Vegas would know that. It's not beyond me to think both sides are in on it together. Where if you've got the head of the guy that's flipped state witness, right? There's what a bookmaker wouldn't be in cahoots with the guy that has the player that's
I think it's the
games.
Bookmaker that reported him.
Well, the bookmaker.
I think he took money from online books.
Well,
and they said there's something up here, and they looked into it and turned him in.
But they're also being monitored. They're being audited on this stuff too, on the apps for irregular. That's why I'm saying some of these programs that they target are.
I know, but are you saying that
me.
the book is in with the guy who's throwing the games?
I'm sure sometimes. Again, I'm not saying this one, but I mean,
you'll have to ask Kelly about that. I'm not following you.
No, I'm saying how do they know? They know the injury report before anyone does.
Yeah.
How is that?
Because they're very good at it and they get inside information.
Right.
But they're setting a number. They're not. We're talking about now paying someone to fix a game. That's not fixing a game.
But that's knowing that you're in on this with the inside information. I just think there's a deeper level to it than this dude who's going to Columbia to get dental work done.
But you still, again, they're getting inside information to set a number to try to get a large number of the population to go on either side of that number.
Right.
It's a fair game, though, because their understanding is the games are being played on the up and up. So whatever they get is fair business in setting their number. They're not then giving a pile of money to someone saying, make sure you go under that number. That's what an outside force is doing.
No,
and then making money off of that.
I'm just saying that the outside force would have the ability to tell them things, to set a line. And that's insider information that we don't have. You pause the bet when you want to, that certain information is about to get out. So you can't jump online and bet the spread and get it because, you want to catch a number. You go, by the time you get there, it's paused. Or it's locked out.
I think when they feel like something's going on, they'll pause it because they think someone's paying somebody
The other thing that I think the vast majority of us don't realize is how far ahead the actual live event is from watching it. Where we perceive it to be live. It could be 45 seconds. In some cases, it could be a minute and a half behind. And the play, if you watch your app, the play that you've got a 4th down and 1, the play's already happened before you come back from commercial break on the TV. Because you'll see the score change on your app well before the score happens on TV. That's also very eye-opening if you haven't seen it.
I get screwed on that all the time.
But
I live bet a game, and I'm like, boy, why did my number just go so much? Oh, that team just hit a 3 to go up 8 with 3 minutes left, and I took them to win down 5, and then immediately I see it turn.
Yeah, it's just how fast.
Then I watched on my TV happen after that.